nations at last. How united we ever will stand for the welfare of all in this land. Hail hooray to our island, St. Andrew, Old Providence and Little St. Catherine. Soon your children will gain rich attainment, every merit which ever received. No more strangers will rule in our home, no injustice to cause us to roam. We have the help of the Almighty above, who shall lead us along in His love. Hail hooray to our island, St. Andrew, Old Providence and Little St. Catherine. Soon your children will gain rich attainment, every merit whichever receive. No more evil on us shall befall. Soon there'll be peace and justice for all. We're together as one in God's might. To gain freedom we'll win every fight. Hail hooray to our island, St. Andrew, Old Providence and Little St. Catherine. Soon your children will gain rich attainment, every merit whichever receive. Good morning, everyone, and welcome once more to the Voice of the Rizal Nation. My name is Dr. Sigfred Castle-Britton, speaking to you today, and I want to welcome each one of you that listening to us today to our new program. Want to welcome our radio listeners. We want to welcome people from the diaspora. We want to welcome every single person on Facebook Live, YouTube Live. All our listeners, welcome and thank you for listening to us. Last week we were speaking something very important about the questions that we had in our previous dialogue with our candidates to Congress. And we want to jump into a new program today with the following questions and with what we didn't cover last week. And before we do so, we want to invite you to go with us with a word of prayer. So everyone listening to us, we are going to have a word of prayer to invite the presence of the Lord to lead this program in the day of today. Let us pray. Our kind and merciful Father, we want to give thee thanks once more for this beautiful day and for this program, Lord, where we can come to speak to our people on our islands and also those that are abroad. Thank you for the opportunity that we have to come together as people to discuss topics that are concerning to us, topics that are very important for our future, for the development of our island, our territory, our rights, our people. Thank you, Lord, and want to ask you that you may help us in this day, that everything that we do, everything that we say may be just according to thy will and blessed by thee. We ask it all in Jesus' name. Amen. So welcome once more, everyone. Today we want to invite maybe some people that can join us to discuss some very important news that are important for our community. We want to invite as well maybe some listeners that would like to participate in the program. You can have 1 minute to speak. Tell us your concerns. Tell us what you think about what we have been doing. You can give us some suggestions as well of programs that you'd like us to have. You can tell us what are your main concerns of the topics that we have been discussing. For example, the violence in our territory, um, overpopulation, anything that you think is important. But remember, you have only 1 minute to speak. I want to remind you the number, which is 318-729-4817. If you're calling from abroad, you can put +57 before the number. So it's +57 318-729-4817. And you're welcome to call us and join the program with any news or any concerns or any suggestions, or just a brief comment of 1 minute that you like to give. Of course, being respectful and not accusing any particular person or any particular group. And we want to invite you to join us as well with your comment, Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Today I have a phrase, a very important phrase that I want us to consider. Helen Keller, she says, alone we can do so little. Together we can do so much. Remember this. Alone we can do so little. Together we can do so much. This space is an invitation to every single person listening. If you consider that you love our territory, you love our islands, you love our people and our culture or heritage, then we want to invite you to join us as one big group, yes, of leaders. Now, some people have said, I am not really a leader. I don't have no leadership. Of course you're a leader. Just ruling your own life, you are a leader. Just ruling your own family, you are a leader. So every single person has a leadership in their life to play, which is your own leadership, right? Ruling your own life and being part of leading out the plans for our future. And when we speak about the plan for our future, we're not speaking about 10 years from now. We're speaking about right now, because the crisis is increasing. We are definitely overpopulated, and we need to do something about it. And okay, so last week we mentioned 5 questions that we had in the dialogue. I want to get into topic about this. I don't know if we have anyone that's ready to join us. We have today, yes, people from the Good News Radio connected. And we want to invite you, if you want to join us, you can just call us. Right, very good. So the question number 6 that we discussed in a dialogue with our candidates to Congress was, what strategies will be supported to regulate internal migration to the islands in a manner that respects constitutional rights, while also protecting environmental balance, cultural identity, and quality of life of long-term residents. Okay, so this 6th question, I'll repeat it. What strategies will be supported to regulate internal migration? If you're listening, you can join us and tell us what you think about this. To regulate internal migration to the islands in a manner that respects constitutional rights, while also protecting environmental balance, cultural identity, and quality of life of long-term residents. This particular question brings us to one of the most sensitive issues affecting the archipelago today, right? Which is what? Overpopulation. So we have constant speech about that we are overpopulated, and it's not now. It's been many, many years that we have been speaking that we are definitely overpopulated. Then our candidates had to reflect on particularly what strategies they would do to regulate the internal migration. Yeah. Over the years, migration up to the islands has increased, as we know, right? And this growth has created pressure on many aspects of our daily life. We mentioned this a couple weeks back as well when we spoke about overpopulation and crisis or chaos on our islands or territory. We mentioned that overpopulation is one of the biggest problems we are having and the main core of our different situations or problem, right? At the same time, the Constitution of Colombia protects the freedom of movement within the country. So They are saying that this is Colombia, that the archipelago is Colombia, and they are saying that we can't really stop them from go to the territory. So we know that we have the Okre that is supposedly controlling the migration of the people to the island, right? And we know as well that we have pressure, supposedly, that are on top of people who are coming in and saying that they have the rights because they are married to a Rizal, or because they've been on territory for many years, and that because they became residents or whatever, right? But what constitutional rights exactly will they help to push? Yeah, that can protect us as a territory? That was a question. So the real challenge is finding a balance, I would say, a balance in this part. So what can we do to find this balance? The islands have fragile ecosystems that we know, and this is something that we need to consider with the environmental protection as well, and the groups that have to do with it, right? Corallina and so forth. Because every single day, not just San Andres, Providence, and Catalina, the beaches are corrosion or washing away. This is in the whole world. Climate change is a reality. Over warming or planet warming is a reality, and we are seeing this daily because the poles are melting. The sun is getting hotter, and because the sun is getting hotter is a reality that is melting the poles. Water from the pole is coming where? To the sea, and the sea level is what? Increasing or raising. So we have to do something about it. In many places, I don't want to really go out of this question, but in many places in the world, they are using spurs or rocks in the sea to build more beach. I'm not really expert in this topic, but someone you that really know about this environmental protection can understand what I'm saying. They put some rocks out in the sea, and I think they're called spore or something like that. And the rocks in the sea, they bring out more the beach. Yeah, because the sea, the beaches are corrosion. We have, you remember that our beaches on island are very broad out, right? White sea, very broad. And now the beaches are narrow. And through the years, it will happen more and more. So that is something which is very important to consider when it comes to environmental fragility, right? And of course, our biosphere, our sea flower, yeah, our coral reefs and all of this is something that we need to protect as well, because so many people come in and in this massive tourism, and I would say massive cheap tourism, yeah, because the idea is not to have massive cheap tourism and in islands that are very fragile, like the Cayman Islands, for example, or the Bahamas, or many places. You can see that they don't really promote massive free tourism. Yeah, they don't promote massive free tourism because they don't have the infrastructure nor the ecosystem adaptable to receive massive tourism. They need to bring people, just a percentage of people that can really come and cover the cost of being on our island. And the cost of being on our island can be, effective in the tourism system, well, hotels or Rizal places where they can stay and so on, right? And all the different Rizal business, because that's the other thing that we need to consider. And that was one of our questions as well. We are speaking about tourism and so on, but the majority really, if you consider it, we can do a census about that, or the majority of the business in our island is not Rizals. No, they're not Rizals. They're all from other places. So this question in particular has to do with the planning of a long-term quality of life that can really support our people. And of course, to help us to do something about stopping the amount of people coming into our territory. So one thing is to stop the amount coming in a right way, right? And to regulate, you want to come in, but you come in for a limited time and you go back. That's it. And of course, some that are already coming in with fake documents, that is another thing. We spoke about the biometric system as well that should be implemented, that definitely should be implemented. And I remember going to the island recently, that was like 1 year and change ago. Yeah. And when I arrived in San Andres, because you all know I don't live on the island. And when I arrived to San Andres, somebody from the Ocre said, "Tarjeta de la Ocre, por favor." So I said to the person, I don't. He said, "Yo no hablo inglés." She said, "Yo no hablo inglés." So I said, "Excuse me, I don't speak English, Spanish." He said, "Un momento," and she went in the back to bring someone that spoke English, right? And the person was a riser, and the person came and the person says, "Sorry, sir, can you give me your Ocre card, please?" So I said to this person, "Why is it that you all have someone to receive people that don't speak English? Why is it that somebody is on the front desk or chair or whatever and speaking Spanish to people coming in? She should be a riser attending people. Or if she's a resident, she should speak Creole or English. Why is she attending people and she doesn't speak the language, right?" And she insists in a very rude way that she doesn't speak English and she wanted me to speak to her in her Spanish. So that is happening in our territory, and that is something very concerning as well. If you all have any comments about this question, the strategies that will be supported to regulate internal migration, you can think of them and send them on the chat in WhatsApp. You can send them as well on Facebook Live. You can send them even on YouTube, or you can call our number and tell us about this, right? Our radio program, remember, is 318-729-4817. Okay, let's go to the following question. Question number 7. This question spoke about reparations. It says, reparations to the Rizel right to their own system of education, including schools and universities. The state of Colombia persecuted the Rizel Christian University from 1990s until its license was withdrawn, as documented in the secret book of the Das against the Rizel people, where the institution was reportedly declared a threat to national security. Now that the president of Colombia has expressed determination to establish a Rizel Caribbean University, do you agree that this initiative should align with the original efforts of Rizel leaders who founded the Christian University of San Andres, Providence, and Catalina, and that the institution should be placed under the authority of the Rizel people as a form of reparation? The 7th question that we had in the dialogue with the candidates moves into a topic of reparations, particularly in the area of education. I remember when we were considering this topic of having a discussion about having a Caribbean University with Mr. Jairo Rodriguez and other people, it was very clear that the president wanted to establish the Christian University, or the Rizel Caribbean University, in the ground of the Christian University, right? And then suddenly we heard about different situations happening, saying, well, the Infotep, or here, or this other ground, or this other place. Again, we would like to remind you the phrase of today. Alone, we can do so little. Together, we can do so much. Alone, we can do so little. Together, we can do so much, by Helen Keller. This is something that everybody needs to have in their mind and their heart today. Everyone is pulling aside for their own benefits, or probably you can have in mind your collective benefit as well. So you created some nonprofit organization. That's fine. That's excellent. The more organizations fighting for our rights in our territory, that's perfectly fine. But I want to remind you all, we have a Rizel Authority. And the Rizel Authority has an assembly, and it's created by the people. So if you are having an organization or a group or whatever you are doing towards the benefit of our territory, that is excellent and is not criticized. It is very excellent because it's part of getting solutions to our problematics or to our chaos, right? So the invitation is for you to join the Rizal Authority. And the Rizal Authority is not one person. The Rizal Authority is not a person. It's not a group of people or some particular people. The Rizal Authority is every single Rizal on the territory and abroad. All of us are part of the Rizal Authority. Of course, we have a directive board. Of course, we have a council. But it's very important for us to come together. And this is the invitation today. So let's put aside all the divisions that we have. If you remember, we spoke about the different groups we have on our territory and how they are so united. We have, for example, the group of the Costeños. And if you go to the group of the Costeños, you hear that the Barranquilleros, they have their group, the Cartageneros, they have their group, the Samarios, their group, the Paisas, their group, the Arabians or the Turks, as we call them, they have their groups, and so on. And you have many groups that are formed and they are very united and they come together and they work together. But then, who are we? And we would say it in broad Creole. Are we white crab or black crab? I don't know if you have heard that expression. I guess you have, right? They said, I heard my mom saying that once, that you can put white crab in a bucket and you can put black crab in another bucket and you leave it there and you see which one come out first, right? Some of the crabs get on each one back and they crawl out and they pull out one another and they come out. And when you look, every single one come out. And the other ones, they fight to come out and they pull down the other ones and none will come out. So which one are we, white crab or black crabs? Because some pulling out some to come out together and some just pulling them down. So are you pulling down your own Rizal people and trying to jeopardize? I hope you know that word. Jeopardize the efforts that we are doing or some are doing to get things going for our people. So this is very important question that we made. And in particular, it says, do you agree that this initiative should align with original efforts of Rizal leaders who founded the Christian University, and that the institution should be placed under the authority of the Rizal people as form of reparation? Yeah. When we speak about reparation, it has a lot to do not just with education, right? But this one is particularly about human rights and reparations and so forth. Education has always been the central to life and future of any community. For the Rizal people, education is a very important point. You can see the Chocuanos, for example, as example. We can put them as example. Choco is a territory that is very abandoned by the government as well as our territory. And the people from Choco, being from the Black community of our country, or the Negroes, or the Afro-descendants from our country, they fight and they struggle to build up themselves going, with education. That is very important. We complain that we have overpopulation, so we have to encourage more education on our territory. For what reason? That our professionals can come back to the island and work, and that our youth can be farmed, can be trained in the territory, right? That they don't have to go abroad. They don't have to go to Cali, Medellin, Bogota, or different cities in the mainland to get trained or to get, certified or professionalized and so on. And when we speak about the Christian University, someone called, remember a caller saying that it's not just about a bachelor's degree or a master's degree or PhD. It's as well about educación para el trabajo del talento humano, as what they call it in Spanish, which is technical education as well. So we have some young people that might be suffering of ADHD and different learning disabilities. And some of them are not in the conditions of taking a long-term education of 4 years, 5 years of a bachelor's degree. I know that, well, abroad, a bachelor's degree is 4 years. In Colombia, is 5, and some university now 4, right? But at technology, it can be 2.5 years. But when it comes to technical education, or educación para el trabajo y el talento humano, so it's called in the Colombian education law, it's something very minimum, a number of hours that can certify someone similar to the SENA, right, to get to work. So it can be in hotel, it can be in many different places, not just in one particular area. So they're telling me that Mr. Jairo would like to announce his entrance to the live bar. Okay, go ahead, please, and bring in Mr. Jairo, and he can comment on this as well. Welcome, Mr. Jairo.
Hi, Dr. Seafred. Good morning.
Morning.
To all our listeners, yes, I can be briefly on, and specifically those for this question. I have to.
Sure. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Yes, we asked, and we include this question amongst those to the candidates to the Congress last week. And we set a background there because we know that majority of our people don't aware of much of the history of our history, and also in the history here of the Christian University. Many have the perception that the reason why it closed was only and solely economical. But along with that, there was a situation of persecution by the state of Colombia upon the Christian University. It is proven and documented in the book that they confiscated from the DAS. Amongst the many books, that they take away from the DAS, you read the dirty work that they was doing, persecuting human rights activists, journalists, politicians, etc., the rights of people leaders as well. They found a book specially dedicated to the rights of people, their persecution for years. And in that, they mention about the Christian University and many other things. And what they say there about the university, that somehow it was like a threat to the national integrity of Colombia. That's what we're talking about here. We know most people don't know about this. And it is important that they know that it wasn't welcome if they stand up there and skin their face while the university was going on and taking photos and whatever. Was in a hypocrite way. But they didn't welcome the university. Okay, going to the question now, that is the background. Asking the candidates them, and if they did agree for it to be under the racial authority or led by the racial authority, is because, and we know also many are not aware of this, it is an ethnic university. It's not a Universidad de San Andrés Providencia or la Universidad Isleña. It is a racial university. If you are building a university for X or Y indigenous people in Colombia, ethnic people, it is an ethnic university. In spite, Colombia didn't have well developed this the laws around or legislation or so forth around ethnic university. They are doing it now. They have it already long ago, some time ago, for the indigenous people.
Correct.
They legislate around universities. And they just do it recently last year, October 2025. They take out a decree for the equivalent ethnic university for Black communities, Afro-descendants, Palenqueros, and Raizales. Decree 1098. So we was trying to get the candidate them into this because we know many maybe they don't aware of all this, and they are stepping into Congress to legislate and make political control. So this is an ethnic university, and that's why we asked the question if they, in accordance that it should be in our case, placed under the racial authority guidance, or to conduct its establishment. And precisely in that decree 1098 from 2025, yes, there is a paragraph that's precisely said that it is the Raisal Authority, the Raisal Council, in the case of the archipelago San Luis Perez and Catlina, the one to determinate or create, establish Raisal universities. This is a situation that we have in Parliament actually with some functionaries there in the Ministerio de Educación that refuse and resist to respect that mandate. Wanted the candidate them in that dialogue to aware of this and can fall in line and in the work that they're going to do, continue to defend what we had already accomplished. That's more or less what we was expecting.
Very good. Thank you very much, Jairo, for that clarification. Very important. This was a very important question then, that is not just any university, right? Not just any university, but an ethnical university. So all the efforts that we are trying now to have this university going forward is now to be helped with the candidates we have, right? The ones that are going to represent us, and hopefully we can really work with them, the ones that get there on the seat now again. Let's go to question number 8. And in the meantime, we go to question number 8. We want to invite, I don't know if we have Ken connected, wanting to give some news. Ken, can you come and help us with the news that you have that you wanted to give? Let's see who else we have connected. I don't know if Ken is ready. Yes, Ken, welcome.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Ken. We can't see you though.
No, not yet.
Yeah, we can see you now. Okay, yeah, welcome.
Okay.
So before we
Hello,
go to
good
question
morning.
number 8, welcome, and go ahead, please.
Well, we want to invite all the people that's connected to the program and well, via streaming and also with the radio station as well. My name is Kenyon Newbal Magowan, President of Round Raisal Corporation and delegate in the National Space of Prior Consultation in the 7th Commission, and also part of the team from the streaming studio as well. So, well, in this brief section, we want to share one little bit about the experience we had in the last youth assembly that was in February, last February. It was a great experience we had with the different youth from different school. We had 4 school in the hall that evening. It was around 40 students from different ages and from different grades and well, different sections also from the island. We had Luis Amigo, we had Brooks Hill, Flowers Hill, and well, we had also invited guests. The youth council was present there. The actual delegates them that was elected, and also the previous one them was in the meeting present too. And well, also we had extended invitation to the Secretary of Youth, but they didn't assist to the space. So we wanted to just briefly share, well, in this space, one important message where I feel the youth them show in this space. First is say the youth then interested, the youth then involved in the mostly at the journey. The common ground at the Camby station is they want to be here, they want to be listened, but they no got space for that, they no got space to develop the ideas, they no got space to really participate in the construction, public policies, then not really they have them vice in a consideration, so that is why participation of the youth is very low in different processes, because they don't feel really involved. Like the process are continuing, the processes they structure them, they define the programs, the activities, the projects, but not really thinking and making a real deep diagnosis of what the youth, the islanders, Raisal youth need in the archipelago. So that is something we wanted to share in this piece. Say, well, is a very hopeful thing, taking a positive, taking a say, well, the youth interested to study, they interested to become different kind of professional. We want a port to the construction of a better society for we island and we whole archipelago. So well, that the invitation say make we help and start create different spaces. We got in our neighborhood enough to be something structured or something organized, and we want rise our corporation. We try every time we can and make the opportunity. For the people can get chance to just start. We also have in our last year, the previous before the election, we create one quick debate, one quick space, because well they didn't have the chance for as candidate to present themselves, to talk with other youth, to interact with them other contestant to they participate in the election too. So well the idea is that just spaces for the youth then can hear between one another and interact and express their opinion.
Very good, Ken. Thank you very much for that. I have a question for you that someone was asking, if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
They were saying that why we had only 4 schools invited and not all the schools from the islands.
Okay. Well, for the school was the one that assists, but we extend the invitation to the different secretary. Then we invite the Secretary of Culture, Youth, Sport, and Education to carry the proposal, and then different agenda we have program for the whole year with all the activities, budgets, and project we have for the youth, so they can have information on how to inscribe and participate in all these different affairs. And unfortunately, of the secretary them of only the Secretary of Education went with the specific agenda of superior education, and the other secretary then didn't attend to the space, unfortunately. And we did the same situation with some of the school them. We had some of the school them we invite around 8 school particularly, and we also will extend the invitation to the Secretary of Education to extend the invitation to all the schools them as well. But well, unfortunately, well, all of them never get free assist, but it was, even though I never get free assist, it was a really enriching space, and the youth participate very actively, and it was very, very enriching. So well, it's the 4th edition. So well, next year with the 5th edition, we continue grow and participate, have more participation from different school and more actors too as well, were involved in the youth.
Yes, I want to congratulate you for that, because I had the opportunity to participate, and I was there with you all, well, virtually, and it was excellent. It was excellent because they had opportunity as well to speak about their language, their culture, the ideas they have for the future. It was an excellent moment for them to share their ideas and see how as well leadership is growing among our youth. So congratulations for that.
Thank you as well, and very, very important for also people that involved in different spaces, as you, Dr. Castell, and different leaders, they involve with the youth to understand, say, well, maybe in a social media and even sometimes the traditional media, we hear maybe a negative message about the youth, and the youth is not interested, the youth don't want to involve, the youth is lazy, the youth don't want to work, the youth is, it's just that we have a different context now. It's not the same San Andres, it's not the same archipelago, and we have to confront a different economy to the one with parents in front had to face, who are different social, a different violence system too. So well, the youth definitely feel say they need more space. It's just what then the beg more space. One of them mentioned said they want would I make the assembly 2 times a month. Say well, it would have been really, really nice, but well, unfortunately, well, the social organizations, and so we try with own media, so well, precisely to guarantee independence in the spaces, well, to not have non-political background with no like other interests, it's just with our own resources that we manage to get ourselves working, and with the community as well. So that is the idea. Create space, independent space, where Rizal youth can just express themselves freely without non kind of chains or kind of restrictions of how they want. Sometimes I explain them, we can jump to Spanglish if we feel comfortable, or maybe express yourself in a Creole if you want, or maybe in a Spanish, and afterward make one traduction, or it's just part of how we need to create them the space to understand how we
Correct. Ken, let's have a pause there a minute, Ken, because we have a caller. Caller, welcome. Yes, good morning.
Hear me now. You launched out a question a while ago, inviting the next organization beside the Rizal Council to join. I return the question: why the Rizal Council don't come out and go to the Rizal organization and try to invite them to unite, and not the organization them to go to the Rizal Council? That is my proposal, no?
Very good caller, and that's a very good question. That very good proposal, and we will consider that as well. That is a very good proposal. He's saying not just expecting that the organizations to come to the Rizal Council, but the Rizal Council contacting these organizations and inviting them to join. Thank you very much for that caller. You would like to say something else? We have the caller still online, or okay, he's gone. Very good. So we want to thank this caller for this excellent proposal, and it's something that indeed the Rizal Council can consider. Thank you for that. So Ken, speaking about the spaces for the youth assembly, is that how it's called, right? Rizal Youth Assembly, how is it called?
Yes, Rizal Youth Assembly, yes, sir.
The space for the Rizal Youth Assembly, definitely you need more sponsors. You definitely need more support, right? Because so that's why we are mentioning this phrase today of alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much. The idea today is that all of us come together and work together. So this Rizal Youth Council is something very important for our youth. And this comes into the topic, Ken, that we were speaking about like a couple weeks ago, yourself and myself. We were talking about making a program on our Voice of the Rizal Nation to make a difference between what is a dangerous mind and a criminal mind. And we will speak about that soon, right? Because it's something that can involve the youth and how we can help parents not to form a dangerous mind in your home and then finally a criminal mind, right? We are saying, you were mentioning that negativity about the youth, saying that the youth are lazy or they don't want to work or youth are involved in this or in that. But what are we doing as leaders? What are we doing as people, as community, to help our youth to follow the right model? Because that's the other thing that is happening in our archipelago. They have wrong models to follow, and when they have wrong models to follow, well, they see what is known widely or mostly, and that's what they want to follow. So we can do a lot, not just to support the Rizal Youth Council, but we can do as well a lot more to help them to develop in the right way. Thank you very much, Ken.
Thank you as well. I want to briefly comment on that. That is very, very interesting, and I feel very acquainted and very needed that can be station, because as society we need to understand that every problem that come up that involve youth and involve new generations, that it has roots. It comes from somewhere. It's not just random results or just people randomly acting violent. They are result from different kind of things, from family situations, neighborhood situations, economical, social, all the structure can affect in this in the development the development of this violent behavior. So the very important where we have this conversation, and we also invite the community to participate with questions, with opinions, with perspective and experience to where they have in a different neighborhood. Then because we also know some of the youth involved in a violence, but we know we also have different youth they do other good things. So if you have the experience of a different youth where they do something good, let us share them the kind of things too and talk about them the things too in a different spaces. We in the change little by little bit the narrative for the one children themselves understand, so they have a different possibility of living a life that is not just a violence.
Correct. Precisely the core message of making a difference between a criminal mind and a dangerous mind is that behind every child, that is the core or the message of my book, Dangerous Minds, saying that behind every dangerous mind, there is a child that was not heard. Behind every dangerous mind, there is a child that was not heard. Okay. Okay, so they are telling me here, excuse me, let me read this message. Okay, very good. Ken, so we want to go to the question number 8. Would you just join us and help us with the question number 8?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so question number 8 says, given the archipelago's recognized status as the ancestral territory of the Rizal people and the demographic changes that have weakened their political control, what plan will ensure that local institutions reflect this ancestral character, including mechanisms that reserve or prioritize elected offices for Rizal candidates in order to prevent political displacement and safeguard the right to self-determination? While you think of that, Ken, I would like to read what is self-determination. Let me get it here. So for the listeners, we speak about self-determination, and maybe you have heard many times speaking about self-determination. I want to read for you what self-determination is. Self-determination refers to the right and capacity of individuals or peoples to decide their own future, govern their lives, and shape their social, cultural, political, and economic development without external domination. The concept appears in both psychology and international law, and each field emphasizes the importance of autonomy and dignity in human development. So in my field in particular about psychology, the idea focuses on personal autonomy and motivation. The influential self-determination theory developed by Edward Deci and Richard Ryan proposes that human beings thrive when 3 fundamental psychological needs receive support: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. Autonomy refers to the experience of acting with a sense of choice and personal endorsement. Competence involves the ability to master tasks and develop skills. And relatedness reflects meaningful connections with others. So again, to summarize, self-determination is the capacity and the right of individuals to what? Decide their own future, govern their lives, and shape their social, cultural, political, and economical development without what? External domination. So what do you all think about this question? If anyone would like to say something. This is question number 8, Ken. Reparations of the Rizal political self-determination. Here we are speaking again about reparation, and this time focuses on political self-determination. What can you say about this question, Ken, that we asked to the candidates?
I think this question is related as what you mentioned. I could relate it to the concept that we hear that like political will, because I feel like in this territory, being a minority in one territory is a very complex situation, because democracy doesn't work in this situation in favor of the Rizal people, because the overpopulation is a strategy to overcome that democracy power in the territory. So it's needed to find strategies as people globally, not like particularly. I feel also we have to understand this political game as how I see it. I would also know if you allow me the simile to like a political game is to understand as racial people, if we place in those political spaces and what we as racial people represent and need to represent in those political spaces. Also in different spaces of participation, also like the national space of prior consultation, is not just being there, is being a political agent for the racial people in the system, not become part of the system in the time you are working there. So that is where I think is very important. Is like a personal commitment to the processes.
And this as well, Ken, has to do with the question that was asked about if candidates or representative in Congress that are not Rizals can represent the Rizals. So how can we really put someone there on the, there in Congress that is not a Rizal to defend our rights? Yeah. So of course, if someone is not Rizal going there to defend the Rizals, that's not going to happen, right? So this question had to do with not only about elections, but is about ensuring that the governance of the archipelago reflects its history, its culture, the people, right? So we have a comment on. Yeah, we have a comment from someone saying that Miss Corinne is going to come and join us from the Amen SD movement. Miss Corinne has a message to give us. I don't know if she's ready. Just let me know when she comes so she can come and give us this message as well. So any other comment that you'd like to give about question number 8, or someone would like to comment, you can call us as well. Just remember the number 318-729-4817. If you're calling from outside of the country, you put +57 before the number, and you can call us as well. So self-determination. So this is a very important question as well. Let's go to question number 9. Time is running, and we'll soon have to dismiss our listeners on the radio. And we want to invite you, if you're listening to us on the radio, you can come and join us on Facebook Live or YouTube Live, because remember, the radio program is until 9 a.m. In question number 9, we have reparation as well. And it says reparations of the Rizal right to development. Given the archipelago's special constitutional regime and the court's validation of population control and residence requirements as essential to protecting Rizal cultural identity and the natural environment, what reforms will be promoted? What reforms will be promoted to strengthen territorial protection, prevent demographic displacement, uphold fundamental rights, and restore population equilibrium on the island? So this question about reparation this time focus on the right of the Rizal people to develop within their own territory, right? The candidates in this discussion were asked what reforms they would promote to strengthen territorial protection. And as many listeners know, the archipelago has special constitutional regime that recognizes the need to protect both the environment, well, the Seaflower Reserve of the Biosphere particularly, right? And the cultural identity of the Rizal people. So courts have also supported measures such as population control, residence requirements with the OCRE and so forth, because these tools help protect the fragile balance of island life. But the question here, Ken and listeners, we wanted the candidates to tell us like a plan or what would they do, right? And this development must therefore move forward in a way that respects the environment and as well the cultural identity of the community. And I don't know what you think about this, listeners, but nowadays we're hearing a lot of people coming to our island and saying they are Rizals. And I mentioned that the other day in a group precisely, people saying I am Rizal, and this person is from Venezuela, right? A person from Venezuela saying I'm Rizal because he's learning Creole. Because we have people coming to our territory to learn Creole and saying or trying to or pretending that they are Rizals. We have some groups that go to Medellin and they get into the Paisas and they speak like Paisas and they say they are Paisas. They go in the coast and they speak like the Costeños, here they are Costeños. They go in Bogota and they do the same, or any place in Colombia. And now they're doing it on our island as well. Yeah, the other day we had more than 500 people from Venezuela. We don't want to really put our fingers on that particular country or place, but unfortunately, this is what is happening right now. So we want to say goodbye to our radio listeners from our Good News Radio. Thank you for listening. I want to invite you to continue listening to us until 9:30 on our Facebook Live and our YouTube Live, so you can come. So welcome back, radio Good News Radio listeners, for next Friday at 8 o'clock. Thank you for listening. So Ken, this is happening right now. What can you tell us about this question, Ken?
Well, I think about this is all about regulation and control, and that is the way we can have all the guarantees to strengthen our territory as people, and to have a balance between all the tourism and all the economical activity and environment sustainability as well. Because the importance of the Rizal people in general, any indigenous people, the original people from anywhere, is that the people understand the way of living of that particular place. They understand the way how the environments move. It lives with it. For example, I used to explain that you will never see, for example, a Rizal like destroy a whole mountain and build something. You will see Rizal build posts and adapt to the mountain. We don't destroy our territory if we adapt to the benefits. We just adapt to what is there in the nature, you know. That's why we have in a summary section them hosts with high posts, because well, in a certain areas, well, the water, the tide go up, or different situation is just the cosmovision and how you live in the territory, and that need to be protected in a specific and strategic way, where allow for economical and tourism activities continue, because we know is a very important part of the economy, but also being conscious that we also need to adjust them the different laws that you mentioned that we already have to regulate overpopulation, to regulate migration from different people in the island. So all them different elements is strengthen them and organize them in our system that allows us to participate and have a very active economy and very active tourism, but responsible, conscious, and that doesn't destroy our environment.
Excellent. We have a comment here from one of our listeners on YouTube. She says in Spanish, si una persona no raizal llega a la Cámara de Representantes por las islas, difícilmente defenderá los derechos del pueblo raizal. In other words, if someone that is not Rizal arrives or gets to the Chamber of Representatives of the islands, hardly that person will defend the rights of the Rizal people. And we have been saying it. So unfortunately, something should be done, or it's not been doing, or you all can tell me about it, what is being done, and you can tell me from the Rizal authority or council, someone can tell what is going to be done, or what are we going to do, in other words, to be sure that the people that arrive in there in the Chamber of Representatives are Rizals. Yeah. Well, of course, I really don't know. I don't live on the island, and I don't know if these people are arriving there are or not Rizals, because some of them, as I said, they said I am Rizal because I speak Creole. Or some don't speak it at all, Ken. And some saying I am Rizal because I have a background that is Rizal, or I am Rizal because I am married to a Rizal. So we have to make the difference. Who is a Rizal, right? Who is a Rizal? Who is a Rizal? Tell us.
This. The Afro here in the Pacific call it Afroconveniente, you know, is when time you identify yourself as an ethnic group or as a people when it's convenient for you, you know, when time you need to identify with people and people identify with you as racial to gain connection, votes, and participation is okay. But when time you are in a space in the system where you are the only racial representing the racial people that support you, that raciality is not so strong like in a campaign, right? So
Correct. So
that
we have
is
Miss Karine with us. Miss Karine, welcome. Welcome, Miss Karine.
Morning, good morning. God bless you all. How's the morning?
Good morning, Miss Karine. We
good
can't see
morning, Miss Corinne. God bless.
Pardon?
we cannot see you.
Are you want to see me? See, Fredo? Oh my
Welcome,
God.
Miss Karine. Welcome with your voice. Or if you don't want to show your camera, go ahead, please.
I get ready to go to appointment and Jairo tell me this morning when I wasn't expect to be on, so I'm not ready. So
That's fine, Miss Karine. Welcome. Go ahead, please.
no, I was asking about the document that I published. I think it's day before yesterday. And
Yes.
so what I just wanted to say that this is not a document of MNSD or Raymond Howard or Corinne Duffy. This is racial people for the entire racial people. Everyone know that the Amen movement in all his constitution say that the only thing you need to be part of Amen movement is to be a racial. That's all. And so it's for all racial people. And I think it's very important for us to start touch these topics because we are in a critical situation. And that's why we decide to send this document to the entire world to read it and know. And so we're asking all of you to share it as much as you can. And we are also going to send it to International Commission of Human Rights. We are going to send to the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights, the Ombudsman of Colombia, and the Ministry of Environment and Sustainable Development Office.
Miss
That-
Karine, excuse me a minute. I want to read this document if you don't mind, and then you can comment on it. What do you think?
Yes, go right ahead.
Okay, so I have the translation of the document, and it says as follows. Call of the Rizal people to the world to protect the archipelago of San Andres, Providence, and Santa Catalina. Manifesto for the survival of the Rizal people and the protection of the archipelago. We members and defenders of the Rizal people raise our voice before Colombia and before the world to express our deep concern for the future of our people and our ancestral territory, the archipelago of San Andres, Providence, and Catalina. For centuries, our people have inhabited these Caribbean islands long before Colombia existed as nation. Please mute Miss Karine microphone in the meantime because you have a feedback, Ryan. For centuries, our people have inhabited these Caribbean islands long before Colombia existed as a nation, building a unique culture grounded in respect for our God, respect for our territory, the land, the sea, and the coexistence between generations. Our language, our traditions and customs, and our relationship with God and the territory form an essential part of our identity as a people. The Colombian state recognizes the ethnical and cultural diversity of the nation through the Political Constitution of Colombia 1991, and it also recognizes the need to protect our territory through special regulations such as Decree 2762 and of 1991, created to regulate residency in the archipelago. However, all of this has failed. Today, we face a growing threat that put at risk our survival as ethnical people. Our ancestral territory face an unprecedented demographic pressure that affects the capacity of our islands to sustain their population with dignity, deteriorates fragile ecosystems, and reduce the living space of the Rizal people. The situation not only generates environmental and social impacts, it also produces a deeply unjust phenomenon. After the enactment of Law 52 of 1912, which in Article 14 authorized free passage on national ships for Colombians to settle in our small territory. Today, the original people of these islands have become a political minority within their own ancestral territory. Individuals who do not belong to our ethnic group have been granted the ability to hold positions such as governor, representative in Congress, deputies, and council members. International law recognizes that ancestral people have the right to participate in the decision that affect their territory, and established in the United Nations Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People, adopted by the United Nations. Therefore, we affirm clearly the Rizal people have the right to exist, to preserve their culture, and to participate decisively in the governance and the future of their ancestral territory. Our struggle does not seek to exclude anyone. Our struggle seeks to protect the cultural, territorial, and environmental survival of an ancestral people who have cared for these islands for generations. We believe it is necessary to open a national and international dialogue to establish mechanisms that guarantee: 1, the protection of the ancestral territory of the Rizal people; 2, respect for the environmental capacity of the archipelago; 3, the effective participation of the Rizal people in political decisions affecting the territory; 4, the preservation of our cultural and linguistic identity. When an ancestral people disappears, humanity loses a part of its memory and its cultural diversity. For this reason, today we make a respectful but firm call to the Colombian state, to the international community, and to all these people of the world. Help us protect the survival of the Rizal people and the archipelago that has been our home for generations. Because a fundamental principle of justice must prevail, and ancestral people cannot become political foreigners in their own territory. Archipelago Movement for Ethnic Native Self-Determination, Amen SD. Go ahead, Miss Corinne. Ryan, you can unmute her, please.
Okay. The idea is that we call the attention to the world because we need help. This document is just to make everyone know the situation that the Rizal is living in, and that for us to unite and fight together so that the Rizal people find a way of survival in our ancestral territory. And since we have been writing letter to the nation, we have been sending letter to everyone, but letter and sitting down and talking is not helping. So the idea is to get the support from the world in general before they disappear us totally as a people. Because that's, to me, that is what is happening. When we talk about we have 27 square meter and San Andres, we don't have 27 square meter. Because when you think that we have some lands, we have mangroves, we have about 17 to 21 square meter, not 27. And this amount of people, I am sure that San Andres have more than 130,000 people on the land. And that's horrible, that's cruel. And like we're not worrying enough. To me, this is very serious. And our people are just taking this slight. This is not something slight. This is very delicate.
You see, Miss Corinne, people are focusing on the main consequence of the overpopulation, which is the violence, right? So because they are living in this violence and this chaos, they don't see the broader picture of how to solve the situation. And the solving of all what is happening on the island is to evacuate out the island. It's like flushing out the island. We need a flushing. It sounds really bad, but we need to flush out so many people that we have that should not be there. That has to be done.
Definitely.
70,000 people should get out, but we don't know if it's 70,000 or even more, because we have a lot of people living there that should not be there, that should not be on island. Why I'm saying there? Because of course I'm not on the island.
I know that.
Ken, what do you think?
Well, hello, Miss Corina. Well,
Hello, darling. How are you?
excellent. Thanks for hear you,
Glad to
and
see you.
appreciate you a lot and love you.
I know that.
um, well, in this matter, well, I think say, is really a situation where critical because, well, as we all know, all this we are living is not random. It's a consequence of like a plan, you know. Is
It
not
was a
like
plan.
just random events that occasionally happen, and this is the situation. Is not that the case. So it is very alarming that we are not aware enough and collectively conscious enough to like start take collective actions towards this because, well, as you mentioned, well, different organizations and different people are doing different activities and different works, but as people is little what we can do against big mechanism and big systems that have been oppressing we for so many years. So is needed support. I think is very needed support, and international support would help a lot, even with advice and guidance on how this process can be, because, well, it's a situation where maybe happen already in different places in the Caribbean as well, and we can maybe
Correct.
find help and support in a different islands with similar situation. And I think it's very important. For example, well, the Emancipation Week is also a very important space where we get to do them the kind of connections with different people. Um, and so yeah, it's very important. So we start connect with different people and start get together and start like find a way to increase that awareness of the people them. And because I heard Dr. Castell mentioned already too, people like them consuming and then daily living and the expensiveness of living on the island make people have to have one or two more, one job, two jobs, and people like just constant living on the daily to pay their expenses and have their needs covered. So it is really difficult because, well, that is what the system do. We keep people trapped in
Exactly.
that system, so they don't have time to really sit down and create them a debate and them a conversation when need for we unite as people.
You call them distractors, Ken. So they have a lot of distractors going on, and that was the idea. They distract the people, they distract us, saying, okay, this is going on. And even there are documents that show, right, Miss Karine, what was the
Yes.
intention of disappearing us as people. That was a
Yes,
plan to
that
disappear us.
was the document. The name of the document is the Secret Plan of Colombia for for San Andres Province and Catlina. That was planned and it was executed because we see that everything that they said in that document, they fulfill it. And that's why I think it's so important for us as people to be conscious of what this nation is doing. Colombia are not going to do anything for racial people. We can stop going to meet. I have about 2 years now, don't go to none of the meeting them. Because when you're going to meeting, you sign up an agreement and nothing happened. It's done, finished. I all time say that they throw the paper before they get back where they're going to dump the paper already. So we are, as a people, are the one to think on our situation and try to find the solution because they are not going to do anything for us. They have the people living like king and queen in our territory. We are the one that's suffering. We are the
Correct.
one can't have a job. We can have a good, not even a good hospital. People's dying because they don't have a good. So why we expect that Colombia is going to do something for us? We have to do it for ourselves. No one is going to do it for us.
Thank you very much, Miss Karine. So we have the document in Spanish, and I'm going to send you the translation I have in
Yeah,
English.
I had translated already, and
Oh, you have the translation already. Fantastic.
yeah. Yes,
Okay.
I have it because I had to make it in both languages because we're going to send it to this international organization and have to be in English.
Perfect.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
Okay, thank you very much,
God
Miss
bless
Karine.
you. Bye, my dear.
Amen. God bless you too,
Take
Miss
care.
Karine.
Bye.
Okay, so our time is coming to an end almost. So let's go to question number 9 so we can finish the last 2 questions, please. Question number 9 says reparations of the Rizal right to development. Given the archipelago's special constitutional regime and the course validation of population control and residence requirements as essential to protecting Rizal cultural identity and the natural environment, what reforms will be promoted to strengthen territorial protection, prevent demographic displacement, uphold fundamental rights, and restore population equilibrium in the islands? We read this one now, and we discussed it already. So let's go to the last one, which is question number 10. Reparations of the Rizal rights to self-determination through civil disobedience. Would you be willing to withdraw? This was one of the questions asked to the candidates. Would you be willing to withdraw as a collective, collectively, well, my question is different. Would you be willing to withdraw as a collective group to protest be sufficient inclusion for non-Rizal candidates in this election and to its right of self-determination? Or would you prefer to form alliances with other candidates to improve the probability of electoral success? If alliances are considered, what conditions would be required for such a partnership? Well, can you tell us a little bit of the political movement, what happened really in this election? I don't know who are the ones that get in there on the seat and what really happened. And if you see that they didn't join sufficiently and they didn't come together, what happened really in this case, Ken?
Well, I want to give my experience and my opinion as a little bit impartial. I am no linked to non-campaign, to non-candidate. And well, my opinion is based on my participation in different spaces them, and I had the chance to listen and know like different of the candidate them personally and meet them in a different spaces and so on. So I feel like we have strong, powerful, intellectual, and hardworking professional in the islands. So the Rizal, we got all the capacities to fulfill the job and do better in the seat. So I feel is a matter of get together as people and create strategies, create strategies of how for example, well, other kind of people do that kind of strategies, then unite, they talk and find different solutions and make alliances and coalitions. And I feel like Rizal people in general, we need to get to that stage as well, where we can have those kind of debates and those kind of conversations. Well, political spaces, there are many and they are renewal every certain time, so there's enough space for many people to participate. So I feel that if we create like a strategic way to have Rizal participation guarantee, we don't need to make no kind of alliance that would maybe go against what we would like or represent for Rizal people.
And of course, as well, Ken, is very important, for example, that the candidates, I think they should have thought or should have considered saying people have been on the seat for many years. Some of them have been on the seat for 8 years now, and they're going for now another 4 years more. So it'll be 12 years on the seat. So exactly. it's like I mean, they've been there for 8 years, and what really have they done? You all can say it. I really don't want to get in that debate, but you all can say, what have they done in 8 years sitting on the seat? And you all putting them back again for 4 years more. So the same situation. What have they done with overpopulation, for example? How have they helped us with overpopulation in our island, and what is going on our territory?
I heard a friend mention once a concept. She said these last elections are hunger elections. People are voting for food, not for consciousness or for idea or for the political like closeness they have to someone. They are voting to have the possibility to have a job, for the possibility to have to sustain their home. So it is really difficult, that situation, when people are like in that position, and I was in the position of coordinator of the MOE, the Misión de Observación Electoral, the chapter of San Andres, and I'm not in the seat, not that position right now, because precisely is a civil exercise, and it's very difficult if you have, well, the same thing that we mentioned about the system. People are involved working and in the daily life, so it's really hard to find enough people like to make a whole observation, because, well, it needs to be people that is voluntary, first of all. Second, you have to be not involved with none kind of politics, none kind of campaign, have to be totally impartial. And, well, they have to be people with certain background to fulfill that observation process. So, well, it's very difficult. And in the year we make observation, was the election for governor. And, well, one of the things that we observe and the results them that show in the national analysis them, because, well, we just make the observation and it's the national office in Bogota that with a professional team make the analysis them. And there's a lot of risk of the constreñimiento electoral. Is when time people feel pressed or feel kind of intimidated in some kind of way. Maybe not directly, but they know, or they feel like if they fear, if they don't support certain candidate or go with this kind of this politics, it would affect them personally, and they will be affected and maybe not have a job or not have renewal of a contract. So that situation would have put us few people in a very difficult situation.
Yes, Ken. Today we spoke about many important things. We can take off the last question there now, Ryan. Thank you for that. Today we spoke about many important things, and I would like to mention that we spoke as well in many weeks ago about the community-based census. We must not forget that, right? We are planning to do a community-based census. We will give you updates soon. Mr. Harry Rodriguez will be giving us updates soon about the community-based census, and what the plans that are behind that is very important. Remember, we need to do not just counting. Remember, the census is not just about counting, but we need to know exactly where we are standing, right? And it's about the needs of our people and the protection of our people. That's why the census is important. And we need to get to the point to know exactly how many people can be on the island, which is the carrying capacity. The carrying capacity is very important to know exactly what is the exact amount of people that should be on the island for the island to have the famous punto de equilibrio, right? To have an equilibrium. We spoke about that, and that is important. We spoke as well about the community in vigilance, which is important as well. We mentioned that we have one going on right now in San Luis, and they're doing one as well in Narten. And we need to create more community in vigilance in our neighborhoods to protect our own people. Yeah, protection about us. We spoke as well about a letter of or a manifesto for the survival of the Rizal people, and the protection of the archipelago that Miss Corinne Duffy is sending from the MNSD organization. And this letter is going to be national and international to call attention to all international entities to help us protect our people as people, right? And we spoke as well about something very important going on, which is the Rizal Youth Council. And we're encouraging every single person as well to help Kenny Newball to build this Rizal Youth Council more, to get involved in his organization. He has an organization as well. What is the name of the organization again, Ken?
Yeah, well, the organization is One Rizal Corporation. We have all the Rizal member. We started the hurricane 5 years ago, so well, all with the youth too. So well, everybody want involved is open to everyone.
Perfect. And we had as well a caller telling us today that the Rizal Council should not just wait that the people contact them, but that they should contact people to join and the organizations to join. And we will be speaking about that and the structure of the Rizal Council. We'll get a program about that as well. And we spoke today as well about the difference, a program we want to have about the difference of the dangerous minds and criminal minds. Thank you. The difference between both is important, and to help families to identify what is going on with your youth and how we can help not just you but children, because it starts from childhood, right? It starts from childhood. someone that is not being heard in the community, in your home, in the school, and how we can help them to get along and to move on, right? And to overcome the difficulties that they're having because of overpopulation, So we want to invite all of you as well, listeners, to join us every single morning, but participate. This space is yours. So you can join us on Facebook Live. You can join us on YouTube Live. You can join us on our Good News Radio program every morning at 8 o'clock. Well, every Friday at 8 o'clock. We are planning as well to have it different programs, different days of the week. Many people suggesting that it should not just be on Friday mornings, but it could be maybe in the evening hours, right? When people are home and can have more time to listen and participate. But this space is yours, where you can call, where you can write, and without accusing anyone, judging anyone, but this space is open freely for you to participate, right? Ken, you'd like to give some final message to finish the program?
Yeah, well, the final message is always an invitation, always inviting people to involve with everything that got to do with food rights, with food people, with food territory, because even they go half hour down a meeting, sometimes that can really impact one process. So our presence is very important too. Sometimes it may take you out of routine a little bit, but it's very important to maybe involve, maybe read a little bit in the social media, them through the Risal Development Center, we share some of the information too, as scholarship and different information we arrive to the organizations. So we also they start share with them the kind of things. So the idea is to involve and make the people then have different ways to connect with us. And well, yeah, that is the idea. May we start have those conversations about different spaces, both presential and virtually, because well, presential is difficult, but virtually we can have the facility to get together in a more frequently and more easier way. So the invitation is that we make all we involved in this process, we keep up with our identity.
Very good, Ken. We have 3 things then to finish. Number 1, I want to remind you all the sentence or the phrase of today, right? Alone we can do so little. Together we can do so much. Remember that. Alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much, so much. Everybody is important, from the smallest to the biggest, from the youngest to the oldest of the Risals. Every single person is important. You fisherman, you teacher, you pastor, you youth, every single person is important. You know why? Because they want to disappear us as Risals, but you and us, all of us together, no matter where you are, away in Texas or away in Miami or away in the UK or here in the Cayman Islands or in San Andres, in Providence, in Catalina, in Bogota, every single corner of the world where you are standing, Risal, rise and shine. That is the message today, but together. And we want to finish with this song before the prayer. Ken, would you like to finish with a word of prayer for us?
I will allow you to.
Okay, so let's finish with a word of prayer, and then we will have the song, Risal Shine. I think that's the name of the song, right? Risal
Shall rise.
Risal shall rise. Thank you. So let's pray. Let's pray. Our kind and merciful Father, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today to our Risal people. Thank you for the listeners, for the young, for the old, for every single person listening today, every single person important in our community. Thank you as well for hope, because hope is the most important thing that we have right now, Lord. Thank you for the opportunity that we have to show our people that hope is still exists and our island is not gone. That you have our lands in your hands. You are protecting each and every person listening. I want to ask that you may bless from the youngest to the oldest person of our community. Help us to pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.